Picture this. Your best friend opening up about his toxic relationship while you're sitting there. You don't know what to say. All you have to do is listen. Yet studies have shown that we fail to listen the right way, and that slowly pushes away all the important people from our lives. But why the hell is listening so damn important? The reason was revealed in Dia Khan's documentary, White Right Meeting the Enemy. You see, Dia was a Muslim woman from the UK who found herself in a dangerous conflict with white supremacists to the point that the police had to step in. So she moved to the US and started to interview other white supremacists from there. But instead of trying to prove them wrong, she started each interview by letting them vent out. So one by one, they started to trust her and even like her. That's because she created a safe space. That's exactly what you should do with your friend. He always hears, just break up with her, but never tell me more about it. After this, you'll face an important obstacle in your way of helping your friend. But let me ask you something. If you would be the one venting, would you want him to A, just listen in silence, or B, listen but also speak out from time to time? The answer is actually B, cause if you just stay there in silence, it would seem like you don't really care. Now to do that, you'll have to use some verbal listening techniques. The first one is the silent anchor. Now let me give some facts real quick. I is the 6th most used word in English, while you is only the 15th. In order to be a great listener, it's very important to use the word you more than words like I and me. How can we use this? Well, after your friend opens up about his problem, the biggest mistake you can make is to say something like, yeah, I went through something similar last year. That will make him feel like you are not truly listening. So instead, you can say something like, whoa, that must have been rough for you. Now, the silent anchor will only get you so far because it will get you a superficial response like, yeah. As a great listener, you have to make the other person let go of any emotional barriers. But how? By using the echo-free listening. You see, when I watched interviews and podcasts made by professional therapists, I heard one particular thing. They never assume that they understand other people's emotions. When one of their patients tells a story, they never say something like, so that made you angry, right? They always say something like, how did that make you feel? Even if you do understand their emotions, it's better to let the other person actively express them, because it creates trust and makes the process of opening up much easier. Plus, you could obviously be wrong. Yet, none of these techniques come in handy more than the talk trigger. Basically, from time to time, you just say things like, yeah, that makes sense, or a simple uh-huh, while your friend is speaking. But here comes the problem. In the middle of the conversation, your friend takes a glimpse and sees you completely uninterested. Now, even if you are not, you may still give off that vibe. That's why this part is trickier compared to what we talked about earlier. So, what can you do about it? Apply some non-verbal listening techniques. Number 1, have an open body language. When you are listening to your friend, you want to lean slightly forward and tilt your head down while you are looking at him. We often do this subconsciously when we're really into a topic, and it shows the other person we're genuinely interested. But if you lean back with your head slightly raised, it sends the exact opposite message. Also, you want to keep your arms in an open position. If you cross them or things like that, you will make him think that he's being judged. Number 2, keep friendlier facial expressions. There are 3 things that will help you do that. Slightly raise your eyebrows, keep a relaxed jaw, and stay in their line of sight. Number 3, nod occasionally. This is the nonverbal equivalent of saying uh-huh. Number 4, avoid anticipation gestures. Great examples of anticipation gestures are opening your mouth to speak before your friend finishes talking or making a sudden arm movement. Now, by using all these techniques, you'll manage to keep the flow of the conversation going, but the quest is not over yet. Because there will come a time when your friend finishes talking, looks back at you and says something like, so, what should I do? Now, all of the progress you've made can be a total waste if you mess up this part. Because sometimes, your friend's opinion or reaction to the situation can be a little wrong. You can't really tell him that he's wrong, but you also can't really agree with him just for the sake of it. So what can you do? First, it was discovered that it's better to not give an answer right away. Instead, you have to take a small break before answering, so it would seem like you are really analyzing what he just said. But after that, you must use the partial validation technique. Basically, you have to validate his feelings without necessarily agreeing with his approach. Something like, I get why you feel that way, I'll probably feel the same, but here's what I think is best. But how do you know what's best for him? Well, it's important to follow the approach of the best therapists out there. Understand the general duality of any problem. By this point, your friend probably told you all the bad things his girl has done to him, all the fights, all the drama, and all the headaches he's been through. He's sure that it's all her fault. And that's exactly why you should ask him something like, what do you love about her? Or what are the things she does that make you happy? It sounds weird, I know, but making him express all the pros and cons will make the problem clearer. Imagine a guy who decides to quit smoking in order to become healthier, yet what he doesn't realize is that smoking actually helps him meet new people in different social contexts and deals with stress. Therefore, his life becomes miserable from other points of view. So he starts smoking again, and things get back right where they started. You see, most of the problems we have are gray areas. So the right advice might not be break up with her, but try to understand what makes her act that way. At this point, you and your friend just reached another level of friendship. Good listening creates a strong psychological and biological connection, as it was discovered that in these kinds of emotional moments, your heart beats and your brainwaves actually synchronize. But there are also other benefits of listening that most people don't know about. In his book, The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene explains that people who listen more than they speak are often seen as more intelligent. That's because they are less likely to say something stupid, and their behavior is harder to predict.
Going with B. Still going with B. It's a trick question.
Of course, line A is longer. That's so obvious, right?
But besides making you seem smarter, being a good listener actually makes you seem more charismatic. Yet charisma is a very complex aspect of our personality, which Giovanni Casanova really mastered along his life. If you want to find out how, I know the perfect video.